have to say, Claire, I'm a little bit miffed because you said did you not do a stream earlier today or yesterday talking about, well, OV talks about all the same stuff all the time. I don't want to go on a stream anymore. And I mean, come on, Claire. I mean, you have a lot of fun talking with us. This is not this. We talk about sometimes the same things, but we do have a wide berth of different topics that we talk about.
I
Or
do
a wide
acknowledge
breadth,
that.
I'd say, actually.
Yeah, yeah, you do, and it goes on. It's like a kind of neo-Nazi house party, and sometimes it can be a great deal of fun. But
Neo-Nazi party
house
Jews are
party.
invited as well.
And yeah, and I still remember when Galit was on and was trying to give you guys advice about shared values, which you completely ignored. But I mean that was one of the most charming moments of your streams.
I liked talking. I wouldn't mind talking with Galit again, to be honest. I'm not sure if Aaron would allow it, but it'd be interesting to have another conversation.
Well, she's so sensible.
Sorry,
That bridge
She's
is
so
gone.
sensible.
I try to be. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Not gonna happen.
No, he's not going to subject his poor wife to this
What- was-
humiliation of lope slumming it, basically.
Okay, well, all right. Forget the whole Galit thing. Claire, did you hear the stream that Erica did today?
I was aware of it, but I haven't
Citizen
looked at
reporter.
it. Yeah, I got a notification, but I didn't watch it. No.
Okay, all right.
Why?
Yeah, all the women hate me nowadays.
Did you fall out with Erica or something?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Not undeservingly, to be honest. Like, I mean, on her end.
Oh, it was something to do with Dennis Wise, and you wanted to get on, and she wouldn't let you, but she let somebody else on, or something like that.
She, I don't
Look, I
don't want to explain it again, but
Yeah, I can sum it up really quickly here.
okay, here we go, Jay. Here we go.
Okay.
I can see what's coming. Go ahead.
No,
Well, it's going to take 20 minutes now instead of 10.
No.
No, wait. OV and Claire have got something in common which they are not aware of. They have both been rejected in favour of Gandalf. Yeah, Jen rejected Claire and had Gandalf on as a regular guest, and Claire was not so bothered about being rejected, but it was being rejected in favour of Gandalf, and Erica would not let OV speak to Dennis Wise, but let Gandalf.
That's essentially true, but
The cruelest cut of all.
there's it's a little bit more complex than that, but
No, it's not.
what? Oh, fuck off! Fuck off, Jay.
Tell us why you were so angry then, Ovi, in your own words.
Well, it's not because I was rejected. She had already done a stream with Gandalf and Dennis, and then me and her had been talking. I had had a temporary falling out, if you want to put it that way, without sounding like too much of a faggot. A temporary falling out with Aaron, and so Erica comes on stream, and she's saying, oh yeah, can't trust those Jews and all this kind of shit, which I mean is true. You can't trust the Jews, but we started. Hold on, Aaron. Let me tell the story, and then you can pipe in. So we were talking, and then I brought up the idea. This is not her idea, which she claimed tonight on her stream. She claimed that it was our idea that we came up with together, but no. I informed her which she would never know if I didn't tell her in the first place, that January 27th is the official Holocaust revisionist holiday, I guess, if you want to put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, hey, you're in touch with Dennis Wise. Maybe I wouldn't enjoy doing a stream with him where I could talk to Dennis about all of these anti-Hitler propaganda talking points, ranging from what Daniel Sienkiewicz talks about, the imperialism and the anti-Slavic stuff, and maybe some common Holocaust talking points and stuff like that. And she she started like pulling this she started giving me homework assignments, and I've like known her for a little while, right? And I've streamed with her before,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like acting like she was like my
Your
like teacher. Yeah,
Mhm.
well, yeah. I mean,
teacher.
some sort of like like she. I mean, I do have a problem with women giving me orders. And like she's telling me like, oh yeah, well, you got to give me an outline of everything that you want to talk to Dennis about, and and blah 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 blah. And I had seen that she had done a stream with Gandalf,
Mhm.
and we all know how spurgy fucking Gandalf is, right? I mean, there's recordings out there of him shrieking at the fucking microphone,
Mhm.
and like acting like an immature, piece of shit faggot. And so when she's like trying to assert her dominance over me,
Mhm.
when I can tell that her judgment of character
It's
is
defective.
is pretty poor. Yeah. I'm just like, uh, I've been sued by the Queen of England, right? I just like kind of, started getting more arrogant myself, right? And, puffing up my own chest. And, it just became like a back and forth, like, ego versus ego and shit like this. And,
People do kill for status. Even dogs do,
mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, all the stories about dogs savaging the newborn baby of the couple that bought it. It's all about status. So yeah, I kind of get it that people get angry over something like that.
Yeah, and it was kind of funny because tonight she did a stream, and when she after her egotistical intro of playing Erica, which is a great song, but she kind of like looks at it as like a boost to her own ego. She did this whole screed, talking shit about how OV is he picks fights for no reason, and he's a horrible debater, and he's a good for nothing, no good faggot. And she didn't say faggot, but I mean, you can get the gist of it.
Yeah.
Well, I
And-
mean, it brings it on to the whole thing of
You'll be
the
friends
quality.
again. Sorry.
No,
I don't think so. Claire, look, the quality of women on these streams, and I'm not saying the men are any better. I mean, we probably are all at the bottom together, but when you look at the quality of women and the mental, like, capacity and the emotional fragility of them all, I mean, there's about 4 or 5, and it's just like, it backs up what you wrote about so well years ago, that when women enter the the boardroom,
Mm-hmm.
the factory, the committee room, whatever. It just turns into a fucking a childish, like, emotional gossip. Like,
Wait. I hold on. I'm not sure if you're insinuating that I was ever attracted to Erica.
No, not at
Okay,
all.
all right,
No, not at all.
Go on,
I
continue.
think Jay's
I just
talking
want to
about
make that
group
clear.
dynamics.
Just want to make that clear.
No, it's just when you look at all the stuff that, like, Amanda, you know, with a lot of the anger, the gossip, the putting, you know, the extent of it, and the you know, the maliciousness of it, and then Erica gets on the case, and then suddenly you've got guys against guys, and people are teaming up, and it's like loads and loads of private messages, loads of emails, and, you know, let's team up with Erica against Ove. It's just like, for fuck's sake, you know, it demonstrates what Claire, I think, writes about. And even though Claire is female, you know, she says she thinks like a man, which I can kind of understand. But I mean, God, it's just this thing with Erica, and you'd think that Erica and OV are on the same side of the fence politically, like religiously, whatever. And it's like
really sorry.
No, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, we're supposed to be on the same side, but I mean, this is the problem: is that you know, as much as she claims to be a Hitler acolyte, she is not following what Hitler says about, you know, women should be in the family home. Women are not supposed to be involved in politics. And so, like, when she tries to, push her, ego, or push her weight around, or whatever the phrase is, and, you know, I'm someone that is, like, you know, clearly a superior streamer than her, and, you know, can carry a conversation for multiple days on end if need be. And she's asking me to do homework assignments. I'm just like, dude, who I'm sorry, woman, get back in the kitchen. I'm sorry. Dude, you know, I would, and by the way, it was late at night, and I was probably, I was definitely half drunk. So yeah, I probably wasn't as patient as I could have been. But the thing is that, like, I can tell, she's had a fucking bitchy ass attitude towards me for a long time. She's made very snide, sideways comments about, you know, how I'm not a good debater, you know, I'm not as smart as I think I am, you know, and all this kind of shit. And, like, so when she kind of, you know, comes in and steps in and tries to be this, like, dominatrix, I'm just, like, not having any of it. And now she's trying to play innocent, like, oh God, why is OV picking on me? You know, I try to be his friend, and she
did that with me, exactly the same. But that's what I mean. I'd like to hear what Claire's or Aaron's got to say, or Connop's, whatever, on this one. But that's the dynamic of the female, where it goes into a new gear of, like, I mean, I call it tampon throwing. Excuse the crudeness of it, but it's
no,
just
you accused me of that as well. It's
yeah. I mean, yeah, because you because
no, yeah. All right,
No,
all right. Let's not derail. Go ahead.
You don't want me to. So, Claire, I mean, yeah, that it demonstrates what you preach, really.
Thank you, Jay, for mentioning group dynamics, because I think we should understand how these group dynamics work. So, you know, you see an all-female group, and there's a female leader, and the man comes in, and there's only one. The women will just automatically obey him, the alpha male, the only male, for example. But, you know, if a woman comes in to an all-male group, you know, what will happen is that the men will find each other to be the center of her attention. So that is immediately divisive. And the men, whether they want to have sex with her or not, they will still find
I
a
I, I gotta I
desire
gotta
to.
push back a little bit. I don't know anyone who's fighting for uh, uh, Erica's attention.
I don't
No, I
think
mean,
it's so
we're
much
all fighting.
Erica herself as a personality, but just the idea of status, like, well, she's a woman, she should listen to me, blah, 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 without necessarily, wanting to have sex with her, because it's all these sort of status ideas that are probably unconscious anyway.
I mean, say if you have a group of 6 men and a woman joins, and the woman's like really good looking, attractive, the men will be jostling for position.
Sure, yeah.
If there's somebody turns up and it's a Jen Shaft type, the men will jostle to get away from her. I mean,
No, but the thing is, this is what Jen would do. She would get the men that she finds most vulnerable to her attractions to be totally loyal to her, and then probably intimidate the ones who might rival her for leadership position, and she'd get the slow, stupid but loyal and
but can
thuggish
you
ones to intimidate the other men who are smarter.
Say if the purpose of that group, of that 6 men and 1 woman, was to invent I don't know, a table, whatever. The dynamics have completely fucked up the purpose of the group. So that gets in the way of the principle, the traditions, the goal, the ambition, by having that male female thing going on.
Yeah, and the thing is, a lot of men actually, are attracted to certain women and behave as if they have a chance to have sex with her when actually, they'll never be in the same room and breathe the same air as her. It's only because they find her attractive and then they stick up for her and get into fights over defending this particular woman that, another man might slag off because, okay, the best example I can think of is Sarah Palin, and she's so dumb, but it's just I knew some British nationalist who said how wonderful she was just because she's you know what I mean. But yeah, it doesn't even make sense to them.
The Tulsi Gabbard, I mean, she's a good-looking thing, and she's got videos of herself in the gym doing the workout, which I've watched 17 times. Yeah, I mean, that's a good example. If the woman's attractive, and if the woman's attractive, her politics will suddenly become very listenable. It's true.
And the thing is, so much of it is unconscious. So men don't even know that it's playing on their minds subconsciously. It's like kind of subliminal advertising. That suddenly you want to have a Coke and you don't know why, but you think it's something maybe significant or whatever, and so you go and get yourself a Coke or whatever it is that they put in the advertising.
I just wanted to talk to Dennis. I've seen Dennis's documentaries, The Greatest Story Never Told. Have you ever watched that, by the way, Jay?
No, I haven't, but I've watched a lot of the stuff. I think Erica might have played a few months ago on National Socialism, like Hitler's talks and stuff like that. And I was quite surprised that there was a lot of substance in a lot of the. As a nationalist, there was a lot of good stuff there. Not saying that I think what he did later was good, but.
And wait, how tall is Kyle? Jay? He's about this tall, right? He's about this tall.
but no, I haven't seen. But just to get back to the other stuff, Ov, I think that Erica, and I could be wrong. It's just an opinion. I think that she's more concerned what Dennis Wise thinks of her. She speaks about him like he's the king of the world, and she's very, very subservient to. She name drops him and mentions the time where I streamed. Did you all know that I streamed with Dennis Wise last week? Blah blah blah. So she doesn't want him to think of her in a certain way by So it's more just like her own security she's possibly looking after. So
she doesn't want OV to embarrass her.
Well, she wants to say to Dennis
Yeah,
Wise.
yeah,
But who is this
she
Dennis Wise? He's the one who made this film, Greatest Story Never Told, which I haven't seen. Okay, gotcha.
So, OV, can you tell me in less than 3 hours what this film's about?
It basically is so the film is the documentary, I should say, is 6 hours long, and it goes through the. It's been a while since I've watched it, but if I remember correctly, it starts off with the early years of Hitler's life, and it's basically a kind of apologetics for why Hitler was not an evil, leapt out of hell, devil or anything like that. It's basically just a Hitler apologetics is basically what you can say.
No, I mean it's interesting because at school, and I mean I remember watching war films with my parents and family, and the whole thing. And Hitler was evil.
Yeah.
He was a bad man, and he wanted to kill the Jews. I can vaguely remember, maybe when I was about 8 or 9, you learn that, and then that's the narrative, and that's the picture that's painted. But it's only in the last maybe 2 years when you've understood. Well, hang on, why?
Yeah.
Why did he feel that? And you look into which is well, I was asking you questions last night about yourself, but it's only when you look into it and listening to some of Claire's streams and stuff, and you can understand where he was coming from. You can understand why he felt the way he felt, and you can understand the action that he took. We're not at that stage yet in England or America, where
I mean, in mainstream society in general, to be honest.
Yeah, but it looks like it's getting that way. I mean, almost every week, it's going that way. So so my perception did change. I still kind of don't come to terms with. We've spoke about him invading 11, 12 countries in, I think, 1940, and the that's.
Even before that, to be honest.
Yeah, but it's cleaning up Germany. I can totally get that. And I wish someone would do that in the country I live in. I would not be against it, and I'm not saying about death or ovens or none of that stuff. But I'm saying just basically represented the majority of the people, and that's like banning immigration and losing those that are completely unworthy to be here, for a start. But yeah, I can understand more from just learning more. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Go ahead, Claire.
I just wanted to recommend this book to you if you haven't read it already. I think you will enjoy it. I think I did review it on Amazon some years ago. It's called Young Hitler, and it's by somebody called Klaus Hans, and it could have easily been Klaus Hunt. And it could easily have been made into a series or a dramatization, but obviously for political reasons it wasn't. And it's the notes at the back are actually quite good. But anyway, I just thought I'd mention it to you because it's written in a novel form, and it's obviously written with a view to being made into a screenplay, into a movie. So you might like
interesting. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Yeah. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, it is so basically the book was, I thought, perfectly fine. But the thing is, of course, you can't say anything that is in any way humanizes Hitler, because then you will, be accused of Holocaust denial, as David Irving was, because a lot of his. Why he was so popular at the beginning was the fact that he wrote his history books as if they were novels. So he has this sort of wonderful writing style that immediately sucks you into, his books immediately. And I suppose people thought he would be too dangerous to allow to be successful, or he would be, even now Sir David Irving, the way Ian Kershaw is now Sir Ian Kershaw, the Nazi historian. And I really think, the British are more invested in Holocaust denial laws than even the Jews themselves. I mean, the Jews already got what they wanted. They got Israel back. I mean, obviously they, couldn't stop themselves from using the opportunity, in the, you know what Hitler tried to do to us. Maybe it's time to give us Israel. And I think there was some terrorism committed against the British after 1945. And the thing we should notice is that a lot of things happened in 1948. There was a partition of India, and the state of Israel was established. And I think the British basically thought, we're battered and bruised. We don't want to, stay in Israel to be battered and bruised by the Zionist Jews, who obviously want that territory, which we are currently administering, as they were at the time.
Yeah, and that kind of began. I mean, even before Hitler even came into the picture. Britain had been dealing with the Zionist issue, even prior to World War One. I mean, to think that, so I mean, Hitler and the way that he dealt. Well, I mean, to talk about Britain dealing with the Jews, in 1947, and prior to that, I mean, it had been going on for decades before that.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, it's like, anti-Semitism was pretty much endemic. Well, is still endemic in Christian Europe. I mean, now it's for political reasons, but, previously it was for, theological reasons, in that, Jews obviously didn't believe that Christ is also God. And I think that the British are more invested in Holocaust denial simply because they have to say, well, we lost our empire, but we lost it for a good reason, in saving the Jews. And then, I'm just old enough to have history teachers saying, well, if the British soldiers at the time were told that they were fighting World War II to save the Jews, they would have down tools and refused to fight.
It's actually kind of interesting that you bring that up, because in America there was a similar kind of situation where there was a poll that went around that Americans were asked, would you rather win the war against the Nazis or desegregate and let the blacks live amongst yourselves? And they said they would rather lose the war rather than desegregate. Hey, this is a real poll that happened. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's kind of interesting when we talk about all these concepts of nationalism, and should we be speaking German right now, and all this kind of thing. Maybe we should be speaking German. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that a lot of British people who don't like immigration, they're kind of implying that, well, it wouldn't have been too bad if Hitler had invaded and taken us over and we were speaking German, because at least we wouldn't have to put up with this, coloured immigration that we have to put up with. Because, I mean, that is, what they don't quite say, or are not quite allowed to say. Saying, well,
yeah, and I mean, this kind of goes back, and Jay's gonna love this callback. I mean, we were talking at the beginning of the stream. Why doesn't OV have any kids? Well, I mean, it's because Hitler lost the war. I mean,
Well, look. I mean, when you said that, I know that I will always remember that. When somebody comes out,
it's a little bit funny, right, Jay? It's a little bit funny.
But I will defend you.
You shouldn't give up, Ovi. You shouldn't give up. I mean, that's how you kind of get, kicked out of the, fatherhood stakes, but it's people who probably mindlessly breed that eventually, succeed than those who, are too intelligent, they think, to breed.
Well, I am moving to North Dakota, where it's like, uh, I'm moving to Bismarck, North Dakota, where it's all Germans, right?
Well,
I
the
mean,
thing
it's
is,
I got the best chances of my life, at that point.
yeah, I mean, the thing is, I'm always straight with Claire. Like, I criticize and praise according to what comes out of her mouth. And there's probably some truth in what you say, Ov. So even though I will, laugh and joke about it forever, there is some substance to what you say.
Mhm.
And if Hitler had won the war, I mean, who knows? It might have all fallen apart by 1960. But if Hitler had won the war and everything had basically continued as is, then there's every chance that in America now it would not be the way it is, and there'd be
Right.
more. If you follow the principles of what Hitler said about women and family life, then yeah. So I think if you said there'd be more chance of being married and having a family life if Hitler had won the war, I think that's truthful for a
Yeah,
lot of people. Yeah.
yeah, and obviously, I always try to make comments, put them in a kind of a humorous context or whatever, but being humorous and also being serious at the same time.
No,
So,
when you said that, you were serious, Ov. You got to be honest.
well, I mean, I stand by it. I still stand by it. Yeah.
Talking about the Nazis, I mean, I know Lebensraum is living space, but there is another term for SS officers being given access to women, sounding something like that, which I can't remember the name of. Do you know what I mean?
No, I'm not familiar.
They're basically saying, here are women for you to breed with, and that's and as long as you produce lots of white Aryan babies, we're happy with you, and they don't necessarily have to be in wedlock. And I can't. It sounds like Lebensraum, but it isn't really.
Well, it sounds like that's proving my point even more so than I even imagined.
I'm not
But
quite
Claire,
sure. What?
Claire, when you said about like immigration, it's a word that's bandied around all the time, and like
Lebensborn.
oh, that was a spread of land, was it? No, that was
Lebensraum, yeah, that was the living
Lebensborn.
space, yeah.
Sorry.
This.
Jay, I didn't
Oh,
mean
okay.
to
Oh,
interrupt.
okay. Oh, okay. Yeah,
when Claire mentioned immigration, like I've lived in London for 30 years and I've seen it get heavier all the time, more immigration. And one of the biggest influences was from Eastern Europe, white Eastern Europeans, and the effect that had on wage suppression. I know guys who were earning double what they earning today 15, 20 years ago. So, working class, white and black, British, tradesmen, painters, joiners, decorators, whatever, have all seen their wages cut, their quality of life cut by immigration. So, how on earth are they supposed to approve of immigration? So when the liberals or elites, whatever, say no, immigration, it's wonderful, the mass people don't like it. So when I say about immigration, what I'm talking about is I don't like it because it doesn't fucking work. And that's the same with your solution, Claire. Not to start an argument, but it's not that I'm against this. I would be against. I'd be against it on the evidence of it working. It's like the square wheel. I don't think the square wheel is a good idea because it doesn't work. So when you
I'm
look at
actually glad you mentioned it because this was something that they were talking about yesterday evening for me, and I kind of wanted to get on to say to say what I want to say now, but I was distracted, and that was when Ovi was talking about the cultural Marxism that was introduced after the war and everything, and I do think I do have a particular theory about it because I think after the soldiers were demobbed, I think the British government was very, very nervous indeed because it's like, technically they won the war, but really they lost the empire, and they can remember how Hitler got into power with the brown shirts who were freshly demobbed German soldiers after the armistice. And that was kind of how they got to power because of all the manpower. And I think they felt that They didn't want to be overthrown by all the men saying, well, what did we fight 2 world wars for? Obviously, you don't know what you're doing. You lost us our empire. Maybe it's time to get rid of you, kind of thing. And I think they were so nervous that they gave you the welfare state. And the welfare state caused all sorts of social disruptions that we are even now suffering. And I don't think, I don't think it was something that the Jews did. It was something that the British government, so nervous of revolution because of these, disgruntled, soldiers who, hadn't forgotten the arts of war, shall we say, milling around. That they had to be managed very carefully, and basically they were bribed by the swinging 60s and the welfare state and, child benefit and that kind of thing. But anyway, of course it's not going to be in any official history book because they don't want to admit how scared they were about, how badly they got things wrong. It's like 2 world wars and you lost the empire.
Because it was the Labour Party, wasn't it, that brought in the welfare state?
Yeah, but I mean, it was kind of, this whole idea of a Britain fit for heroes, and this was in the First World War, because a lot of men died after the First World War, and then they were wondering what it was all for, and then you got the general strike of 1925. Really unhappy. All these phrases of lions led by donkeys, generals who didn't know what they were doing. Who sent us to go over the top in a hail of bullets for what? And then you see these war memorials. I saw one in Windsor, and they had a list of all these dead men who died in the war, saying "for the glory of God." It actually said that.
I saw a video 2 days ago of lots of American troops getting on ships or planes or something to head over towards Iraq, and the whole thing is why? Whose war are we fighting if there is a war? Or who are we fighting for? What's the point in going? Why are we doing it? I think more and more people are asking that question, why?
Yeah, and the thing is, if you're an empire, you will have imperial wars, and you can't explain the tactics.
Whose empire?
Well, we were going to say the American Empire. You're going to say the Jews are in charge of it, but you can say Jews in the American Empire, and basically
Yeah,
it's like
I'll
go
go
back
with
to the Crimean War, and I still don't really understand it, but everybody was there because everybody wanted a slice of the territory of the sick man of Europe, the Ottoman Empire. And it was something to do with Russia and maybe cardigans and Florence Nightingale, but it was a very complicated war, and you can bet your bottom dollar that the men who died in it had no idea what it was for. But then if you read War and Peace or even see the dramatization of it, you'll see that the Russian soldiers were kind of allies with Napoleon, and then there were enemies again, and then there were allies again. Very difficult to explain to the soldier what they were fighting over and what they were dying for.
But I think with obviously the news, internet, cameras, the whole thing, it would be impossible to actually hide the realities of war compared to 1914 or 1939. So the narrative of, Hitler is invading the world, or Saddam Hussein's got weapons of mass destruction, like these days, like this thing with the legitimacy of this guy in Iran or Iraq who got killed the other day. Like, people are questioning the motives now a lot more than ever. Like, well, what was he doing? And when Trump says, he was planning this, people are laughing at him. Yeah, right. Like, bullshit. Which gets back.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Sorry. Who were they laughing at?
Well,
they're laughing at Trump. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and the Republicans or whoever saying we killed. I forgot this guy's name who got assassinated.
Soleimani.
Soleimani, right?
Yeah, it's basically because he had weapons. it's like it's the same narrative as he had weapons of mass destruction, and he was going to like start killing.
He was helping the hijackers on 9/11.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
Literally. I mean, yeah. I mean, the stuff's coming out about him, and more people are like, no, they just don't believe it. In much the same way as
I was actually talking to Con Ops about this earlier tonight. I mean, we're really in a time of where the law of diminishing returns is coming into effect.
Yeah.
Right? You know, we have the internet. People are connected. People are talking to each other. They're not listening to CNN all the time. Yeah, I mean, the entire paradigm of human civilization is shifting, and all of these Jewish tricks that Israel has relied upon, back from 9/11 to the Gulf of Tonkin to the USS Liberty, all of this shit. Now, I mean, it's really. I'm not sure if you guys were listening at all, but we had a few hour long debate about this whole situation with Iran, and I think essentially, if I remember correctly, we all tended to agree that that all this shit is coming to a head, and it's these same tricks are not working anymore.
Yeah, yeah. That's what my point was. That what worked in the past doesn't work anymore. So what Claire's saying in 1919, they're like, why are we doing this in the name of God? Up to the Iraq War, weapons of mass destruction, to Soleimani, people saying he was planning X, Y, Z, and social media, the public are getting wiser, are just like laughing and just saying no.
No, it's more American lies because of its belligerence, but I think it's to do.
Well, and not only that, but I mean we have to remember not only are we more knowledgeable and more connected with all of the information at our fingertips, but we have to. I think the one thing that is more important to keep in mind, the war on terror has been going on for longer than the Vietnam.
It's a metaphor. Really, it's a metaphor.
What do you mean
meaningless metaphor, really. But I think people don't talk about the Thucydides trap, and this is something that's common to all declining empires, in that they get belligerent because they think, anyone coming up to rival us, we better hit them on the head before they get too big for their boots, and this happened to Britain, and it also happened to Austria, what they did to Serbia, which provoked the First World War.
Well, I think that's still tying into what I'm saying about the law of diminishing returns, right? I mean, the only reason that Jews aren't tired of war is because they're not fighting the war. But they're foot soldiers, white Americans.
Iran has said
some Europeans as well.
Well, Iran actually says we're going to treat Israel and America
Americans,
as well.
Sorry?
Iran actually said yesterday that we're going to treat Israel and America as one entity. They actually said that after they yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Great.
But of course, Israel is an American colonial outpost.
Great.
I don't think you watched that.
But that's the thing, right? Is that like we were talking, Conops, and Aaron and Mike were all arguing against me, saying that like, America can take over Iran, and Iran only has these ancient Tom Cruise F-14 Tomcats and shit like it. And I'm just like, dude, No, I'm sorry. Like the old paradigm is over. This is and
Iran will
they
be
they
getting
accuse
their
they
weapons from
accuse
China and
me.
Russia.
Well, yeah. There. That is another variable that needs to be analyzed as well. Um, but yeah, they were accusing me of being anti-American. It's just like, I mean, I'm sorry, just because I'm happy that the Zog foreign policy is crumbling does not make me anti-American.
Well,
And
I actually defended you in the chat earlier, Ov, believe it or not, when they were talking about when Conor said you were not a nationalist. I've said for a while it must be very difficult to be a nationalist in a country that you despise what they're doing and the way they're living
right, I
at the
remember
moment.
that
At the
comment, yeah,
yeah. Mm.
yeah, what I think I said, I don't hate America, I just hate the way that America is right now.
Yeah, it,
Yeah, I
is, it
mean,
translates
your
into a
move.
kind of self-loathing.
No, self-loathing, no, not at all. Um, yeah, I mean, see, and this is the thing that you bring up an interesting point, Claire, because this is what I had to stress a lot during the conversations with Aaron and Mike and Conops, is that uh, uh, self. Oh, Jesus Christ! I'm getting a little bit tired, I have to
But
admit.
it's
But
not a personal self-loathing. It's just it's a national. It's a political self-loathing, isn't it?
um, fuck me. It's really slipped off my tongue. Self-loathing.
Well, I mean, Jews get accused of being self-hating Jews, so it's possible and probably quite a common phenomenon. In that we always think the grass is greener on the other side. It's like if you're Chinese, you think, well, being Western is such great fun and blah blah blah, and a Westerner might think, oh, Bruce Lee, kung fu, how wonderful. Whatever it is.
Um. Yeah, I totally lost my train of thought. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, y'all.
I'm sure it'll
I don't know.
come back.
If maybe if we just continue the conversation, I'll remember it in the future. But
But yeah, so on a similar topic, the whole business of going into another man's land and saying this is what you should do is the same as knocking on your neighbor's door, telling him that he should do this, he should do that, and that doesn't work in life. It doesn't work well in social circles, and So when the government are doing it, when the country's doing it, I mean, you mentioned Vietnam and obviously the 1980s and stuff like that, and look at Tony Blair, for example, saying we've got to go into Iraq and give them democracy. Well, how the fuck is that working out? It doesn't work well in our country. It's fucking
right?
we're going to give them cancer as well while we're on it. I mean, it's like, how fucking stupid is that looking more and more every day?
I think I remember what I was gonna say, and this kind of ties into exactly what you're saying, Jay. So I'm being accused of being a self-loathing American, when really, you know, what I in my opinion, I'm trying to just be as objective as possible
Yeah,
when it comes to
yeah.
analyzing the situation. And if what is best for white people, um, I mean, obviously breaking away from the Zog foreign policy is best for white people, and if it takes Iran slapping Americans in the face with a dose of reality, saying, "Hey, you fucked with us. Now we're gonna fuck with you back."
Mhm.
That's I mean, that's
No,
if
I hear you. Yeah. That's you want the consequences, and yeah, I hear you, man. I can go.
well, it's not that I mean I want them. Like, I'm not happy that American soldiers might be dying in these ballistic missile attacks. But I mean, if that's what's necessary to wake Americans up, to get them out of this Zog paradigm that we've been living under since the USS Liberty, or since since the times of Hitler, or since going fucking since the Rothschilds have been running the central banks. If that's what it takes, then that's what needs to happen. And,
well, yeah, I mean, the Earth is a stage, and eventually, like, stuff does happen. Consequences become realized. But if this Iran thing turns into a war, which
it's not going to happen.
No, but like just no.
But
but
yeah,
just,
go ahead. Sorry.
What could possibly happen? America wins the war. Iran is taken over, and the same shit that happened in Iraq happens, and then Europe and America gets 15 million Iranians as immigrants.
It could be just it could be a behavioural addiction like gambling, or even streaming for over 12 hours. It's like we did it and it was so exciting. We're gonna do it again until eventually I guess you lose everything you ever had, like the British did.
So, Ov, you regret saying "Hail Iran"?
No, I don't.
Well, then it sticks. It stays there. The accusation is valid.
I mean, if you're trying to shame me, it's not working.
Sorry, Aaron. What was your first? I didn't hear your first sentence, Aaron. Can you repeat it, please?
He said "Hail Iran," and Iran calls America the Big Satan. They want the Big Satan to be destroyed. In a
Context.
Yeah, but I can kind of act as go-between here. That I obviously Ov says that with a bit of humour in it, but what he's saying is that if America thinks they can go around and bully another country again, they deserve the comeuppance. I mean, that's hard to argue with.
Right. So just
and we have to remember when we're talking about American foreign policy, it's really Zog foreign policy, right? And so I'm not happy that American soldiers are dying, but if that's what it takes to break the chain of American and Zog foreign policy and to actually go back to our own national interests, then so be it.
It's not Benjamin Netanyahu policy. How come?
Yeah,
Zog
well,
doesn't
yeah,
think
of course,
Netanyahu?
Jews never lie. Jews,
I mean, it is true, to be fair, that Iran does regularly threaten Israel, right, Aaron?
And America, and America.
Yeah, because of course,
would Iran be threatening America if their foreign policy wasn't tied with Israel?
Well, they've done stuff to Iran over
Aaron.
Oil anyway, even before Israel.
Wait, hold on. I want to hear Aaron's answer, since he is the resident Jew.
You think that everything that happened in 1978 was because of Israel?
That's not my question.
Well, that's answering your question.
If American foreign policy was divorced from Israeli foreign policy, from the PNAC, right, People's the Project for the New American Century, would Iran still be saying death to America? Or would they just be chanting death to Israel?
They would probably saying death to America, because America represents something that's opposite to their religious vision.
What reason does America have to be in the Middle East if not for Israel?
Well, if you're looking for Israelis' political objectives, it was mainly Iran obtaining of nuclear bombs. So they haven't followed.
Come on, Aaron.
They haven't followed.
How many decades? How many decades has Israel been saying that Iran is 6 months away from a nuclear bomb? They've been saying that for decades.
Yeah, I think they are very close to having a bomb.
God.
Okay, well then just let inspectors in, and I mean, they admit to developing nuclear technology. It's not like they're not building.
Commercial nuclear technology.
Well, then fine. Then you would have no problems with opening up your doors and making sure that your uranium doesn't come to weapon grade.
I'm sorry. Who is the country that actually stole nuclear technology from America? It's not the Iranians.
Well, America doesn't. I mean, Israel doesn't threaten America's existence.
Oh,
Iran
no,
does.
no, it actually does. Yeah, this is the whole point of immigration. Yes, Israel absolutely does threaten America's existence.
Is
Yeah, this is the whole
Israel
point of being a nationalist. This is the whole point of being a white nationalist.
Israel has nothing to do with your immigration policy. If
Yeah, it had,
anything,
yeah. In the 1965 Immigration Act, no Jews involved. 1964 Civil Rights Act, no Jews involved. The Schofield Bible, no Jews involved. The Vatican II councils, no Jews involved. Do I need to go on, Aaron? I mean, I know. God,
yeah,
I mean,
you need to
Jesus Christ.
you need to
Like,
go on.
Aaron, man, you're this you know, you talk about testing my patience. Like, this is how it begins.
These are liberal
Yeah,
Jews.
this is how ballistic missiles start firing, Aaron.
But,
You
but,
need
but
to show
shouldn't we make the distinction over whether a Jew is doing something because they are Jewish or because they're doing something because they just want to fit in with liberalism?
No, the Orthodox don't want to fit in with liberalism.
I know, but the Orthodox don't do any of the things you complain about. They don't do cultural Marxism.
It is complicated. There are levels of complexity. Yes, there are gray areas. You know, how do you compare the Soros Jews compared to the Adelson Jews, and so on and so forth? Right?
I'm sure.
There are complexities, but at the end of the day, a Jew is going to Jew, as Duvid says.
But I think it's
Right.
important, and I think
But
Aaron will confirm this for me, in that ultra-Orthodox Jews were kind of saying that the Reformed Jews of Germany were provoking the Nazis. Is that right?
Yes, they were. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Then there's plenty of rabbis that would attest to that. Yes, the Jews of Germany were provoking. I mean, yeah. The Nazis never would have come to power if it wasn't for Jewish provocation. Yeah, of course.
No, they were provoking the Nazis by assimilating too much and saying, instead of Jerusalem being our
absolutely
homeland,
no.
we want
No,
Berlin to be
incorrect.
our homeland, and that
No.
kind of thing.
No. I mean, you can read this in Mein Kampf, right? Hitler was very aware of the Bolshevik question, right? And we all know that the Bolsheviks were Jewish.
But the other thing to bear in mind that a lot of Jews in Russia have no tradition of no Jewish traditions because it was basically knocked out of them and they had assimilated. But they did have a genetic inheritance.
No,
that was...
Jew. When has a Jew ever assimilated? Aaron, when has a Jew ever assimilated?
all the time.
When? Give me one example.
Somewhere down your family tree.
Nice try. Hilarious. Nice try. But come on, give me a serious answer.
That is a serious answer. You're 2% Jewish, and somebody assimilated and married into the host faith.
Okay. Hey, here, I'll put my own skin on the line and push back on that. I mean, you could allege that I'm not actually assimilated white because look at all these fucking kikes I got on my stream all the time. Am I really assimilated?
Probably not. I think that 2%'s got a lot of effect on you.
It might just be a gene
there
for
goes your argument then. There goes your argument.
But it just might be a gene for intelligence that you have, and obviously, if you use your intelligence for evil reasons, then you're, not doing your society much good. And I think it was Halsey who said that the godless Jew is a danger to
Halsey,
mankind.
the biggest liar of them all.
Really, what did he lie about?
I remember when Halsey first came on the scene, and at first he said that his father was Jewish, and then a couple weeks later, he changed his story and said that no, it's his mother that's Jewish, and he's actually descended from the Admiral Halsey from World War II. I don't know if those videos are still online, but And I wish I had them saved, to be honest. It's a fault of mine that I don't have them downloaded. But yeah, Halsey Halsey's a great Jewish liar.
But Halsey's kind of assimilated him with his baseball cap instead of his kippah.
Oh
Come on.
no,
And actually, he said, I
Uh,
don't want to live in Israel because it's full of Jews. My homeland is America. That's what he
no,
said.
Halsey says he doesn't want to live in a white nationalist state, but he wants to live right next to it. That's another quote you can find from Halsey.
Well,
Halsey, you should definitely move on from Halsey. He's definitely not an assimilated example of assimilation.
No, he's a LARPer. I mean, people call me a LARPer, but I mean, Halsey's a worse LARPer than I am.
I don't even know
I
what
mean,
he's LARPing.
I'm not, Aaron, like I feel like I have to repeat myself a lot. Like, I'm not trying to be necessarily antagonistic, or, I'm not trying to be a dick or anything. But I really always I am trying to be as objective as possible in the way that I see the world. So when I say things that maybe sometimes sound controversial, it's not because I'm trying to be, rebellious. Although I am, it just tends to happen that way, unfortunately, I guess. That that's the way that I analyze the world just tends to not always end up in the Jews' favor.
But I think that you hold fast to things that have a little bit more subtlety to it than what you're
I'm
allowing
more
to get.
subtle. I am more subtle than anyone you will ever talk to on
Well,
YouTube.
then you must admit,
Especially anyone who calls himself a Nazi.
but then you must admit that Benjamin Netanyahu's desires have not been fulfilled. So therefore, whatever this
That's
word
irrelevant.
Zog means, it's not irrelevant, because whatever Zog means, they're not listening to the prime minister of Israel.
Yeah. Because Jews don't get their way every time means that they don't have disproportionate power.
But it's the main expressed desire of Israel is to topple Iran and take away their nuclear capacities, which has not been done for 20 years.
When do we take away Israel's nuclear capacity?
Well, I mean, never, but it's now on the table.
And this is why ballistic missiles are firing.
Well, but my point is that this idea that Zog is in charge of all these wars, maybe there is a Jewish cabal, but they're not listening to the prime minister.
Do you deny that
Israel.
AIPAC? Do you deny AIPAC's influence? Do you deny the Project for New American Century? Do you deny Oded Yinon? Like, I mean, are you really trying to tell me that Jews don't want to push their own I'm trying to say this in the nicest way possible. Push their own foreign policy, selfish or not, whatever you'll call it.
I think that there's a separation between the Jewish neocons and the Israeli nationalists.
Not as much as you would think. No.
So you didn't watch that
you look
debate,
at
did
Soros.
you? You didn't watch that debate between Bret Stephens and Yoram Hazony that I linked you to, did you? Ovi?
Sorry, wait. You send it to email?
I think I did send it to you via Hangouts, and I think
what am I looking for? Sorry.
It's a debate under the National Conservatism channel, which Yoram Hazony, I think he runs it. But anyway, it's a debate between this liberal neocon Jew called Bret Stephens and him. And I think everybody should watch it because, it's so obvious that Bret Stephens hates Hazony, and he was, being so petulant and rude and adolescent towards Hazony. and Hazony was saying nationalism, nationalism, nationalism. The Americans have had enough. Uncontrolled immigration, white nationalism, blah 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 blah. And I sent it to you, hoping that you would have seen it so we can talk about it. But you've been too busy streaming.
Whoa, wait, easy. Are you attacking me, or are you
No,
trying to inform
I'm
me about
expressing a
something?
hope that we can discuss it one day soon when you have
It's
viewed it.
worth watching. I mean, I
Yeah,
saw,
I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But wait, did you send it to me just now, or did you
No, I
send
sent
it to
it to
me?
you maybe a day or two ago.
Oh,
Through.
well, okay.
Oh,
Well,
maybe I didn't. Okay, I'll send it to you now.
OV, can Gandalf wants to come on? I think talk about Iran. I think.
Yes.
Can we do
wanna-
that? He's
I want
a
to
guy
hear
who
his take on
Erica chose Gandalf over
all right,
OV.
all right. Gandalf.
I'll send him
Gandalf.
it.
If Gandalf comes on, Gandalf, no screeching. All right, no screeching allowed.
No, but yeah. OV's very sensitive, the feminine side of him.
No, I just gee,
Well, I think Opie is a little worn after.
I'm still hanging in there. I've got that nice Hitler meth, keeping me alive, on the Eastern Front.
Okay, I did send it to you, Opie. I only thought I did, but it's very good, and I'll do it for you now on Hangouts.
Yeah, can you
I'll
post it in
post
the in the YouTube? Can you post?
Okay.
Wait, do you have a wrench,
No,
Claire?
no, I don't.
All right. Make a comment. I'll give you a wrench
Okay.
and post it in the YouTube.
Link is sent, Gandalf.
Gandalf has arrived.
Yeah, this is very disappointing.
What is disappointing?
I hate Donald Trump with just every fiber of my being right now.
Yeah, the Iran thing. Yeah.
See Kyle, Gandalf.
Why? Because he's not a cuck?
Yeah, because we don't need to be involved in the Middle East. I want out. If there's any U.S. if there's one drop of American blood shed in the Middle East, it's one drop too many. For any reason.
Even
I do not
obtaining
care.
Even obtaining a nuclear bomb when they
I don't care.
express the destruction of America.
No, we can deal with Iran if we had a legitimate government without all these corporate billionaires and deep state goons.
Echo.
Yeah, whatever. If I were dictator, whoever the leader of Iran is, because I don't know if the Ayatollah is as strong as they say he is, I would negotiate with them, and we'd carve up the Middle East, and we'd be shipping our troops back within the first 2 or 3 months, and we're closing down all the bases, and you people over in the Middle East handle your tribal bullshit. I want nothing to do with it. I'm on nobody's side.
Gandalf, so correct me if I'm wrong. Are you having second thoughts about Greater Israel now?
I've always said, and I'm going to stick to my position, if they want Greater Israel, they spend the blood and treasure. I'll support it if they spend the blood and treasure. That's been my position for a long time. I want none of ours over there. If there's one drop of European blood shed in the Middle East, it's one drop too many.
Aaron, any response?
Well, I mean, if they are explicitly saying that they're your enemy and they're saying death to America and building a nuclear bomb,
why are they saying death to America, Aaron?
Because they want America to die.
Why do they want America to die?
Ask them, but who cares?
And we've been over this, Aaron. You keep rephrasing the same things. I mean, Gandalf, why does Iran say death to America?
Let's see. We've been fucking around with their country's government since, 1905, if you count the British.
But why have we been fucking around with our governments? Why is America in the Middle East, Gandalf?
for many reasons, but there's two in particular. One is a certain substance that's under the ground, and another is a certain piece of land on the Levant.
All right, I rest my case. The silence is deafening.
No, I apologize. I missed the last thing that Gandalf said.
Oh yeah.
If I'd like to repeat it, I would.
Yeah, we're in the Middle East for two reasons. One is a substance that's under the ground, and another is,
a substance above the ground.
Yeah, a certain strip of land in the Levant.
I'll pose the same thing to you, Gandalf. It's been
was doing. The one thing he did right as president was that Iran deal.
Yeah, actually, that's a very interesting angle to answer this question. Why are we able to negotiate with North Korea, but we're not able to negotiate with Iran? When it's recognized that North Korea actually does have nuclear weapons, but Iran is not recognized as having nuclear weapons. So why can't we negotiate with Iran, Aaron?
You did negotiate with Iran, and you came up with a deal that's only going to slow things down at best. But,
what do you mean slow things down? How many years do we have to wait before Iran allegedly gets nuclear weapons? Because it's been going on for decades now.
I mean, their enrichment of uranium is not a hidden thing. So they get a uranium that's more and more enriched.
Just because you enrich uranium does not mean that it's weapons grade.
Right. So they're enriching it more and more to come to levels of weapon grade.
Okay. So basically, what I'm hearing you say, Aaron, is that, maybe if Iran actually had nuclear weapons, maybe we would actually negotiate with them, because that's the only way it seems that the United States will negotiate with people, is if there's a real threat.
Well, it would be too late. In the eyes of Israel, that would be too late. I mean, it's not like Israel doesn't have a objective. I mean, we have our goals, and those goals have not been checked off. But everything else around the Middle East has been fucked over. So I don't understand how Zog is in charge so much.
Wait a second. Wait, hold on. Real quick, Gandalf. Sorry, this is kind of interesting. Everything else around the Middle East is fucked up. Give me an example.
Afghanistan, Libya, Iraq, even Syria. These are not military objectives for Israel.
I beg to differ, but I gotta refill my glass of water. Gandalf, I'm sure Gandalf, you know about Wesley Clark's 7 countries in 5 years speech that he did.
Yeah, he was talking about, because he was still in the Pentagon when Bush came to power, and all the neocons who were part of Operation Clean Break and the Project for a New American Century were piped into the Pentagon, and Wesley Clark overheard all the conversations that are going on right around the time of 9/11, and all those countries that Aaron's talked about that are fucked up are the very same countries Wesley Clark talked about that U.S. war planners at the behest of neocon ideologues were to knock off. So come on, this is just this history is so well written. And if you've been paying attention for the last 2 decades, as I have for the last 2 decades of my life, I mean, this is just such basic shit. I mean, a 3-year-old should be able to understand this crap. Come on.
And I was trying to make a distinction between the Jewish neocons and Israeli nationalists.
Well, then the Israeli nationalists need to bring these, neocon Jews from the Project for New American Century, bring them under wraps now, because this is not how you keep stability in a region and peace for all people, including the Jews.
Well, I would love to. How do you do such a thing? These are uppity Jews living in America with big fat
stop being
salaries.
uppity Jews. How about that?
Well,
People in Israel need to step up and call them home and go court-martial them. Do something to them. If they have dual citizenship, charge them with treason against Israel and do what needs to be done. It's not my responsibility.
Well, okay, but can we agree that there's been no talk with Israeli nationalists about toppling 7 countries in 5 years?
I don't know. I haven't talked to any of them other than you. So maybe you haven't talked about it, but I can't say that I've been anybody else. And I'm very skeptical because you're not my tribe. So I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I can't.
Well,
I can answer that question. I can answer that question, Gandalf. You look at, Gandalf. You're familiar with PNAC, right? Project for the New American Century.
Yep.
And the Trotskyist neocons, right? Who also happen to be, part of a certain tribe. I mean, why is it, Aaron, that all of the neocons who are so hardcore pro-Israel, why is it that, all of the thought leaders of the neocon movement just happened to be related to each other? In a Middle Eastern way.
I'll just have to reassert my claim that there's a difference between Israeli nationalists and Jewish neocons.
Could I also make the point that it could be interpreted that Jews have been conscripted by the American empire into working for its interests?
Wait. No, wait. Hold on. Hold on. Aaron brought up. What's the difference between a Jewish neocon and an Israeli nationalist?
Israeli nationalist is Israeli living in his borders, and his main priorities is the good for Israel.
What is good for it? Okay, and so what is a Jewish neocon?
A Jewish neocon are Jews that were raised in America mostly, and they go off into their little Ivy Leagues and think tanks and come up with little ideas.
What little ideas do they come up with, Aaron?
If these Jewish neocons were Israeli nationalists, they wouldn't be doing it in your borders and trying to influence your politicians as Americans.
So you're basically advocating for total segregation.
No, I just think that they're a problem, and I think that Israel's the solution.
So how do we achieve this solution, Aaron?
Well, I think that calling out Jewish neocons is a healthy thing. But
who are the neocons that we should be calling out?
I don't know them all by name.
No, I mean, you must know one or two off the top of your head.
No, I really Bill Kristol, I guess.
Okay.
The American Enterprise
John Bolton,
Institute.
maybe.
Bill Kristol and John Bolton need to sign up for the IDF now and get in fatigues and go to PT.
Well, John Bolton's not Jewish. He is.
He might as well be.
He is Jewish. He's like 1/4 or 1/8 Jewish. Trust me. Just trust. John Bolton is Jewish. Yeah.
His great grandfather. So like.
Yeah. No. I mean, my mustache isn't that hardcore,
He would pass the Nuremberg law. John Bolton would pass your Nuremberg laws, so he's not Jewish as far as you're concerned.
So, well, okay, I'm not. I want to go back to this a Jewish nationalist versus a Zionist neocon, right? Is that correct? Is that what you said?
Jewish neocon.
Wait, a Jewish neocon versus a Zionist nationalist?
Israeli nationalist, yeah.
Israeli nationalist. All right. Go ahead. Say it again one time, just to be clarified for me.
Well,
Aaron.
it's pretty easy. I mean, if they're speaking Hebrew, living in the land of Israel, they're most likely Israeli nationalists, and if they're speaking English and they're have American citizenship and they're raised in America and then they still identify with being Jewish, then they're more likely to be a Jewish neocon.
Okay, so we're getting back to the deportation argument, right? Now, I mean, I don't want to be too theatrical about this, but we've talked about this whole how do we how do we get the Jews back into Israel, right?
But I've said over and over again, like, I think you should just come up with really solid arguments.
Actually, yeah, I'm kind of interested in hearing what Gandalf thinks about your plan. So
let me just finish. If you're talking about Jewish neocons, I think that's a really valid subject. But when you're talking about USS Liberty and the Levon affair, these things are kind of bogus. Or the Jews did 9/11, or Jews did everything bad in the world. This is counterproductive to any sort of goals of coming up with a good outcome.
Last time I checked, Australia is not responsible for the number of deaths that our greatest ally in the Middle East is via both the Levon affair and the USS Liberty.
Australia is a US vassal state, though.
Meaning what?
Distinction without a difference, Claire.
It's run by the CIA. We know what happened. Any liberal democracy is run by the CIA. Because it's so easy to.
I'm not a fan of liberal democracy, and I'm not. And if I were made dictator of America, I would devolve most political and financial power down to much more local levels, absent continental defense.
Gandalf, what's I'm not sure if we've ever talked about this, but is in your opinion the USS Liberty incident? Was that a deliberate attack by Israel?
Everything that I've looked at on the subject, and considering that John McCain's father was leading the cover-up, which just where there's smoke, there's fire, I would guess yes. I would bet my life savings that it was deliberate in order to draw the U.S. directly in so that it would start bombing Egypt.
Okay, and to follow up on that, this is towards Aaron. Aaron, if we contacted a survivor of the USS Liberty incident, would you be interested in having a debate with him?
I've heard interviews.
Would you debate him one-on-one? Come on, big guy. Come on, big tough guy, big tough Jew.
Sure, just give me time to research. Sure. No, just give me some heads up.
All right. Let's see if we can set that up.
I just need to speak for myself for a minute. In the end, I'm not interested personally in any conflict or any relation with any of these major powers in the Middle East, Israel included. I want them to go their own separate ways. I have a friend of mine, one of Ryan Dawson's frequent guests, Michael Dar, is someone who I've talked to. I've talked with him. He's a Mishling. He's part Syrian. I think his family's from Aleppo, and he's got Jewish ancestry as well. And his solution is probably the right one. He talks about like these states in the Western Levant, are deeply tied in with one another, and they need to kind of become some sort of secularized super state. I mean, the Jews would have a prominent role, but you got to end Zionism and move past it and end all this nonsense, because up until 1948, in Arab countries, Jews lived pretty well for centuries. And Zionism upset that. That's the biggest reason for the mass expulsions from North Africa and the Middle East. With the one exception being Persia.
You bring up another interesting point, Gandalf. I mean, Jews are Jews are mudbloods already, right? You got the Mizrahi, you got the Sephardic, you got the Ashkenazi. I mean, what difference does it make if we just mix them in with the rest of the the Palestinians and all this kind of shit?
Well, I mean, that's their issue, not mine. I mean, to me, it makes no difference.
Well, I mean, that's what you're talking about. You said that you just talked about this Western Levant needs to be homogenized. I mean, I'm just following up on what you're saying.
I would say confederated in a superstate, but if they want to homogenize or if they want to have apartheid,
let's bring in the Ethiopians as well. The Ethiopian Jews, they got to be a part of this party.
Bring them in too. It's just it's not my issue. They're not my people, and that's why I don't care. I mean, it's not my issue. You're not my people. I want you to figure it out.
Then don't make retarded suggestions.
Then don't be involved in the affairs of our countries. Then.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yes, diversity is our strength. That's what we're told my entire life. It's the same for you then. I mean, it's either always true or never true. You can't just make these blanket universal assumptions and then not have them apply to yourself. That's the hypocrisy pisses me off. I like consistency.
Yeah, Aaron, are you saying that you discriminate against Ethiopian Jews? I mean, they're Jews, right?
Yeah.
The
all
Zionist
too easy.
plan,
all too fucking easy.
The Zionist plan has been a disaster for the Sephardim and Mizrahim of the Middle East, who had generally lived somewhat isolated in their own communities and weren't screwing around with dominant Arab societies. Zionism came in. Zionist agents were trying to rile these Jewish communities up. It drew the ire of all these recently independent Arab countries that were getting nervous about this because, Zionism is utopian, fanatical religious ideology, and it resulted in a lot of those Jews getting kicked out and suffering quite a bit. I mean, there wasn't any concern for the Sephardic and Mizrahim populations of the Middle East that had been there since, at least the time of the Ottoman Empire, if not long before that in other places. And those communities were destroyed, and Zionism is what's to blame for that.
All right, so Gandalf, you say that a Zionist can come over to relatively peaceful situation between the Jews and the host country and mix things up so much that they eject the Jews out of the country. How do I do this in America? What techniques do I use?
No, see, wait. That's a trick question, Gandalf. Aaron, you're already mixed up. Jews are mudbloods by definition. Sorry, you cannot compare what you're talking about to European society, right? Europeans are a pure race, whereas Jews are a mudblood race by definition. They've been that way for thousands and thousands of years. As long as you want to go back to Babylonian times, back to Canaanite times, whatever you want to look at it, Jews have always been mudbloods.
That has nothing to do with what I just asked. I'm asking, how do you go to a host country where there's been a peaceful dwelling between the Jews and the host country, and mix things up so much that the host country ejects the Jews out of their country? Tell me what the techniques are.
Well, this should just be obvious. I mean, it's interfering in the cultural affairs of tribes, not your own, and using cultural influence, economic influence, or state power to do so.
Oh, so we've done all these things in America, but still there's been no ejection of the Jews.
There hasn't been, but historically it's happened 109 other times. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the same patterns are reappearing all over again, and the same tragedies might result for all involved. And I'm upset by it all. You know, I don't really like any of this conflict.
Yeah,
Well,
Aaron,
that's what
Aaron,
I'm trying to tell you
why have Jews been? You're familiar with the 109 meme, right?
No, tell me all about it. Come on.
You've never heard the 109?
Hello. Everybody's heard it.
Okay. Well, I mean, why does that occur, Aaron?
It occurs because we're not we don't assimilate.
Wait, you were talking about how Jews have assimilated about 10 minutes ago.
There's a Jew can assimilate, but the Jews don't assimilate.
Well, sounds like a distinction without a difference to me.
Well, there's a large difference. An individual Jew can assimilate, but that doesn't mean that Jews as a group will all assimilate. It never happens.
So, I mean, therefore, Jews need to be deported.
Therefore, when it comes down to values, there will come to a certain conflict at a certain point.
Oh, conflict. Oh, we're back to the violence again. Yeah, I mean, it's funny how it always comes back to, you wanna deport us, Goy? Well, make us. I mean, why does it always have to come down to violence again? Aaron, sorry.
Because people can't speak in reasonable terms. I mean, it's just
that's a great point. And the funny thing is that I mean, we got the Havara agreement. We've got how much have we tried to? I mean, even just you and me ourselves in our conversations on streams, we've tried to compromise with each other and agree with each other and get along with each other, but yet it just never seems to work out.
Because you're not a reasonable person.
Yeah. Oh, hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. The Jew calling someone else unreasonable. Yeah.
See, like by race, we're unreasonable.
What am I unreasonable about, Aaron?
You just always default to these exaggerations about my people.
What exaggerations?
A Jew can't ever be reasonable. You just said one 3 minutes ago, or 30 seconds ago, and you don't remember. That's not reasonable to say. A Jew can't be reasonable.
A Jew can't ever be reasonable.
You just said
yeah,
that.
Yeah, a Jew. Yeah, I mean, in my experience, that's exactly what I've seen. Yeah.
Okay, so then there's not going to be much negotiation between us. I mean, you're not talking about anything.
I mean, now we're getting into the chicken or the egg, which I mean, it's not really that.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
How do we know whether a person is reasonable or not? What's the metric, Aaron?
Well, if they're just obviously exaggerating about something or don't take any new information in and it changes their view at all, then yeah, they're not being reasonable.
It's a bit broad and vague, but of a definition, because I'd prefer more specificity. But if that's where the starting point for reasonability, that's not a bad starting point.
Okay.
Be more specific. Who is to judge that?
Well, it's a negotiation.
Oh, the Jews, of course.
If things get,
I mean, it's not like we've had this problem in Europe 109 times before, But let's let the Jews define what is reasonable.
Well, I mean, the fact that you've had this problem 109 times, I mean, it's time that Europeans look themselves in the mirror. It's like, why are you so pig-headed, you Europeans, meaning me too, that we keep having these problems? Maybe we should have had firewall.
Wait a second. I mean, Europe is not necessarily we're not talking about a completely unified Europe, right? I mean, Germans do what
Generations let them all back in. So what's wrong with Europeans?
irrelevant.
I don't know if that's irrelevant.
No, well, what the point is that Aaron says that it's the Jews that need to define what is reasonable. We're the ones that are being unreasonable, even though all of these different European cultures have come to the same conclusion.
I said no such thing.
To be fair to Aaron, he didn't say that. I don't know if Europeans are reasonable either, OV. I think we have to investigate this a lot more carefully than we're doing.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot to say I am a white supremacist. If there's anyone on the earth who is going to be reasonable, it's going to be fucking Europeans. And to negotiate with a fucking kike about what is reasonable is absolutely absurd to me.
I think you, to some degree, judging on the insanity of the last couple centuries, if not even millennia of European civilization, I think the same could be said about Europeans, but for totally different reasons.
Well, oh, come on, Gandalf. You know better than that. When I mean, do we need to go into the Rothschild banking empire? Do we need to go into the Bank of England?
I'm aware of all that.
Yeah, blame the last couple centuries on the Europeans. There's no Jewish influence whatsoever in the past couple centuries.
I didn't say that. I never said that.
Well, that's what it sounded like. But go ahead, explain yourself.
Well, look, I mean, there's a problem with the very construction in society and the nature of its relationship between the commoners and its elites, that you'd have a situation where, say, the Queen of England lets in its finances, and guess what? The English commercial mercantilist empire is just an extension of that particular Jewish family's occult interests. I mean, what is wrong with European elites that they would sell out their people for this stuff? And they wouldn't stick to the very folk traditions and folk cultures that their own people love. I mean, this is a problem in European societies, that there's somehow a kind of construction where
it's a problem with European elites. It's not a problem with European societies as a whole.
Well, if you have bad elites, it wrecks your society. So there's something wrong with European elites, that they sell out their people.
But you can
and
have
that's
problems.
Not on the Jews. That's not on the Jews. That's on our elites.
You can have problems with your elites without Jewish influence as well.
Yes, but our elites.
What do you think makes it worse?
Jewish money over their own peasant
but Gandalf, let's be serious. Is it worse to have to fight against your own elites without any outside influence, or is it worse to fight your elites with outside influence and their bribery, their corruption, their money-changing aspects, their fiat currency, their privatized central banks, so on and so forth? Which is worse, Gandalf? Dealing with our own problems within our own nature, or having these fucking sand niggers from outside of Europe come in and also impact their influence?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
you know the answer, Gandalf. You know the fucking answer.
Well, the worst problem is our own traitorous elites that let this happen.
No. Wrong.
That's my
not
answer.
Not the question. Yes.
Well, I mean,
yes. We will have problems with our elites. That's something that's a given. All right. But you cannot deny that having an outside influence like these sand niggers coming in and being these central bankers and all this kind of shit, that is a compounding problem that makes establishing a healthy European society even harder to achieve.
Okay, if that's the way you frame it, I view all that as a massive accelerant, or
Sure.
what's another term?